Quilt Roadies. Thank you for stopping by. I have it's been a while. Well, it's been a few days. Life has been busy, as you would imagine, with moving like we did. And I appreciate all of the comments of support and hang in there and this will pass and virtual hugs. You can't know how much I've needed it this week, because I have literally, it doesn't happen too often, but I have felt myself sink into this quagmire of anxiety and sadness over the state of the world, and you know, usually the beehive is my happy place, but there's just so much going on in organizing and unpacking and figuring out this house. Literally today, 3 hours was spent with the garage door guy here because the garage doors didn't work, the people didn't leave controllers, and so there's that trying to settle it, you know, get settled in a time where the world is unsettled. And then the front door lock, you know, it took the rekey guy 3 hours or more working on that. It's just, you know, and the people we bought the house from said we could call them with questions. Their voicemail box was full, so there was no finding out about that anything. And so we've just had some moments, let me tell you. We've just had some moments. And but today, after the garage door guy left, I said, I'm coming up to the beehive and I am talking to my besties out there. I nearly lost it a couple days ago when I unpacked a box that turned out to be filled with unfinished projects. Yeah. Here, as you can see, the rack is full again. There's like 15 plus quilt tops to be quilted. You know, I'm still working on the 10 quilts that the binding needs to be tacked down on, and I emotionally, and so many of you said the same things, that sometimes when the rug's pulled out from underneath you, it takes you a while to get that momentum back. And so the only thing I've really been focused on is in the evening tacking binding, and literally falling into bed. G and I take a nap every afternoon because we can't even make it to 8 o'clock if we don't. It's like crazy. I had high hopes of keeping up on my hexies. Oh my gosh, it's like, yep, it's a little bit, it's still a little bit overwhelming, but I hear you, and I am embracing all of those that said, you know, with this kind of transition in life, it takes a while, and so I'm trying to give myself grace, but I usually am like a, you know, I want it done, and I want it done now kind of person. So that's the challenge. But I needed to tell you that I have not heard from Patricia Steckman, who won the 3 Primitive Gathering wool blocks that I had stitched. So I'm going to give her another week. So if anybody knows her, tell her to get a hold of me. I'll put in the description box of this video again my email address where she can email directly to Quilt Roadies. It's up in the About section but I'll put it in the description. And I'll give her a week before I just send it to somebody else. Oh, and the giveaway, remember that awesome sharing of this kit, actual kit of a quilt shop, and I asked all of you to tell me your favorite quilt shops, and boy, was that exciting. Not only from the fact that so many quilt shops I have not been to yet that are calling my name, and the travel down memory lane as I remembered quilt shops that I have visited as Quilt Roadies has traveled. It was so fun to hear from all of you. And so the winner of this kit from Primitive Gatherings, the quilt shop, is Patty Archuleta in New Mexico. So Patty, email me at the email address in the description box and I will send it out to you. I want to only go to the mailbox, the post office, once in a while because it's not in this community. I have to go to the next community. So I am trying to consolidate my trips. I received a wonderful bag of goodies from my girlfriend Sandy, who lives in BC. Look at this canvas bag, the great outdoors. This has to go in Penny the van. But I have a soft covered notebook. I think I'm going to use this to keep track of some travels. A magnet, bee's knees. It's out of wood. A ruler box with the top of it is a ruler, and it has colored pencils, a sharpener, and an eraser. These funny coasters, and I hope one day to be using these coasters over on the table. Yes, I brought the table from the old beehive, someday hoping to be able to have class here or a few stitchers here, and I'll be serving coffee or tea. A day without coffee is like, just kidding, I have no idea. Love, liberty, and good coffee. 9 out of 10 people like chocolate. The 10th person always lies. And then, one of my favorites, the world is sacred with the crow, because Sandy and I are all about the crow. And then there was these beautiful boxes that look kind of like Altoid boxes, but they have a resin top. Look at that. And they're magnetic inside for like holding needles and things. And this one, oh look at this. Shiny things. It's got a crow. And this tiny one, oh, it's so cute. It has all kinds of little mushrooms on it. So that was, thank you so much, Sandy. That was just such a sweet surprise. Yeah. So as we're sitting here chatting, I'm going to be stitching on a buttermilk basin wool mat because when I had the meltdown this week when I found all these unfinished projects, at least 15 plus that need to be quilted. I also found wool mats that the stitching for the mat was done, but not the put together part. And so I decided I'm going to do that. And the one I'm doing today is getting ready for Easter because that's coming up. And the way I do this, not everybody, you don't have to do it my way. But because I just want to not having it flop around, some people do not fuse this back to the mat. I do. So I have a piece of fusible in between this piece of cotton and the wool mat. And I am buttonhole stitching around the edge. You can finish it however you want. Some people don't want to use that much fusible, and so they'll put pieces of fusible just to hold it on, or they just pin it to hold it on, and then, but this is just my preferred way. I don't like it flopping around, and my girlfriend Robin, little pocket Robin, she actually has recently started binding this, which means that she actually makes binding. It looks very nice finished. She actually makes binding and then tacks it down like you would a quilt. But that's not me. The way I do this is around this edge, I use a buttonhole stitch. On my primitive wool, I either do a whip stitch or a buttonhole stitch. On the small motifs, I just do a whip stitch. Once in a great while I get creative and I try to put in a fancy stitch just on there, just to do it. But most of the time, it's primitive, and nobody's gonna be looking at it and judging it. You know, they're gonna think it's adorable. So since this is the outside edge, I am doing a buttonhole stitch just to finish it off. And I usually use Valdani thread on my primitive wool because I like the way it feels. But I have been known to, if I need a certain color and I don't have it in Valdani, I use TMC. Yeah. Just like that. So I'm going to be just stitching while we talk. I have so much quilting to do. Oh. And that's the thing, is I cannot wait to get a little more organized. I am looking forward to not having the things to do to figure out how this house functions, because they kind of left, it had some deferred maintenance. We love the house. We love the community. Oh, and we love the neighborhood. And I have, on either side of me, I have some very sweet neighbors. And I look forward to the day when we can socialize a little bit more. But until then, I'm just trying to get to that point where I can find some peace in the beehive and not have a box calling my name. Yeah, that would be really, really awesome. But I am grateful for this moment here with you, because it's kind of been a rough couple weeks, hasn't it? I can't wait until we have a peaceful inauguration and people can remember kindness. Kindness, please. Kindness. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. We need kindness and acceptance, you know. Everybody's out walking because it's such a gorgeous day. So I just finished Jojo Moy's The Giver of Stars. Boy, that I really enjoyed that book. And I'm starting a book called A Woman of No Importance. So, I'm looking forward to starting that. We actually discovered last night 2 or 3 episodes we hadn't seen of Vicar of Dibley. We thought we had seen them all, but we discovered some new ones we hadn't seen. So I'm just burying my knot between the layers of this, and then I'm going to keep going on my buttonhole all the way around. And when I get this done, I'll have a project, my first wool project for 2021 done. And I'm kind of liking doing it here on this, on my sewing table, because the mat is held here and it's good lighting and comfortable. Oh, and I'm excited about the prospect of in April, I think it'll be April Fool's, April 1st. You'll have to keep track, you'll have to look it up. But the Stitch and Post is having me do, the Stitch and Post in Sisters, Oregon, is having me do a Zoom stitch with me, a live Zoom stitch with me at the shop. And I'm going to demonstrate, and you all can do it at the same time, those who want to come, prep any wool project. And I will be prepping a buttermilk basin project, and we'll get to talk. You know, you can ask questions about quilt roadies or stitch roadies or anything you want that's within reason. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Hopefully we'll have enough people to warrant having the class. Yeah. G and I'll be camping down there. I'm looking forward to it. Wanna get me some coffee at Fika. Wanna do me some shopping at the Stitch and Post. Wanna see my girlfriends. But this truly was the best thing we ever did, moving here. As crazy as it's been, and as exhausted as we are, this community is so diverse, and it's so beautiful that, and we get to see our family. Oh, I can't tell you. Well, you all know, those of you that get to, and those of you who are missing, and many of you have shared how much you're missing your family. And yeah, it's a crazy time. I am hoping that I can get a vaccine soon, although the rollout is totally chaotic. I mean, it makes no sense at all, because I have one girlfriend who is in the medical field who got canceled because there isn't enough vaccine, and I have another girlfriend who's retired who got the vaccine. Makes no sense, you know, makes no sense. So we're kind of staying kind of close to the house, not doing a lot of gallivanting anymore. The next county over has the new COVID variant, so we're even being more careful. Last week I went to the cross-stitch shop in Portland, but that'll probably be the last time I jaunt out for a while. Have you guys ever done the Instacart, or have you ever had your groceries delivered to your house? I see, when I went into the grocery store, there were a lot of employees filling orders for people who who called in their order, you know, or did it online, and then they either drive up and pick it up, or they have it delivered to their house. Does that, you know, have you ever done that? And what's the protocol for that? I mean, do you tip the person that brings the groceries? Seems like it'd be like you tip the pizza guy or something, right? Yeah, so I'd like to know. I'd like to know. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have my first project done probably by tomorrow for 2021. That's going to be awesome. And I have 2 more of these mats to do. I see this white standard poodle that goes there walking a loop, and that's the one thing about this community. Oh my gosh, are people ever active here? It doesn't matter if it's raining or not. They're running, biking, or walking. And even if it's with a cane or a walker, they're out there doing it. It's very encouraging. I'm very excited about this community. Lots to learn here. Yeah, you've got to remember when it comes to this primitive stitching is that there's no judgment. There's no judgment. There's no judgment in stitching. You know. But primitive stitching, no one's looking with a magnifying glass to see if your exact buttonhole is totally equally spaced. Now, this is the primitive wool stitching is a great way to start into wool stitching, but if you're brave, you know, my friend Ariane, I'll link it all below, has a Facebook group, a Patreon group that she has online that does fancy stitching. Sue Spargo has classes occasionally that you can sign up for, like Zoom type classes and stuff, and she teaches stitching, because I don't know, you know, and Raspberry Rabbit, you know, Michelle, she has her style of stitching, and Wooden Spool. I mean, there's just so many different stitchers out there, and their different styles, and I'll link a few of them in the description box. But it's, I mean, just sitting here doing this, I can feel my blood pressure just totally relaxing, totally relaxing. You know, it's very, very satisfying, I guess would be. Yeah, the Zoom class with the Stitch Post, that'll be fun, because people can ask questions, and we can talk back and forth, and I've already decided what little project I'm going to prep. So, it's a little buttermilk basin. Oh, there's a little girl running down the street with a little dog. Uh-oh, she lost the leash. Oh, a man's helping capture her. That little dog is just pulling her down the street. So I just knot off, when I get to the end, I just knot off, and then I bury the tail, and I bring it up in the middle of the project, and then I cut it off. It's going to be fun to have something done. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, what are y'all doing? I have one new project scheduled for this year because I signed up for a block of the month through French General. Otherwise, I am committed to finishing some projects, and everyone this year is getting some form. Everyone in my family is getting something quilted or stitched because literally this house doesn't have enough room as far as storage goes, and so and I have all these new quilts, so I'm everyone's getting a quilt this year. I've only saved my very favorite. I give away so many quilts. I mostly make quilts for people because isn't that what quilting's about anyway? So see how it's coming? Isn't that cute? And I love the fabric I picked for the back. Rather than hoarding fabric, and not using it, and then you go out and buy a piece because you don't want to use the one in your stash. What is that about? I had like 2 or 3 yards of this fabric that had chicken scratch on the back. And I thought it was perfect for these little chicks. So, and the way I do it is did I already tell you how I do this? Yeah. I just fuse my back to my front because I don't want it flopping around. And when you use soft fuse, it doesn't feel stiff. You don't even feel it in there. And it needles, as you can see as I've been sitting here, it needles like butter. So, yeah, this is awesome. And then I have 2 more mats that need backs, and then I have my soooo Spargo. I'm going to finish my soooo Spargo needle roll. See, I have this. I'll show you here. You remember this? This is my part of my needle bag. I got to finish that. And then my circles for my class at Tanque Verde. I want to finish that. Oh, I totally forgot about this one. I just love this one. Yeah. And then you remember this one. It's been hanging around forever. Yep. Got to keep stitching those flowers. And then my friend Ariane Zerscher, the needle roll with my little sea otter. Yeah, I found all of these. Yeah, so, oh, and then there was the bees, the beekeeper one. I have to finish that one too. So, needless to say, I have a lot of stitching, including a lot of quilting. Yeah, so that's all we're doing today. Well, thank you so much. And don't forget, hopefully Patricia Steckman sends me an email so I can send those blocks out, or otherwise someone else is getting them. And Patty Archuleta from New Mexico, you've got this kit coming if you claim it. Otherwise, we're done for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking with me and listening to me babble. Yeah, but let's get through this week. Let's get through this week with kindness and love. We can do it. we can do it. The force of good. Thanks for being here.